The Catican will be starting soon.
Take a look at Cam Williams' foot.
He's gonna be fine. It's only a fracture. You should probably go home.
Broken foot? I just wanted to get a look at it. Do you have pictures or an x-ray? I'll take whatever.
Sir, we're gonna have to ask you to leave.
Crunch! Hey kids, start your day with Catican Crunch! Part of a complete breakfast.
What does that even mean?
Zero nutrition, maximum vibes.
It says here these are 4 to 5 with bad takes.
Catican Crunch, the cereal that won't make you smarter, but you'll feel involved.
Fine, but it'll be $20. Yep. Anything else?
Sweet. All the unedited Catican intros for $20?
Yep.
Anything else?
Nope.
Are you sure you don't want anything else?
Brought is a genuine Big Papa podcast puppet, one of one, handcrafted in the Catican.
He's my mic mate.
At auction, I'd expect $20,000 to $25,000.
Shut the front door! I'm rich! Drinks are on me!
Yes.
It's the Catican, baby!
It's the Catican. Kentucky wins 72-63. I don't know what's colder, the weather or our first half shooting. Fellas, how we feeling?
You know, it was ugly like so many of these have been, but I'll take overcoming 5-on-8 and the absence of Cam to have the longest win streak of the Pope era outside of the first 8 games that we played against like Ken Palm 200 teams in Duke.
I'm glad that was an 11 o'clock game, and we didn't wait all day for that to be the main dish. It was a boring game, but we won, and that's really all that matters.
Yeah, 5 in a row feels good, but yeah, confidence is a little wavering with the schedule the way that it looks coming up. But going into it 5-2 in the SEC makes it a lot more likely to steal one that we're probably going to be favored in, and then survive. But yeah, I mean, the guys, they played hard. I think the game plan in the first half was a little bit sketchy, but we'll talk about that. But Jasper, Colin, good games.
It feels like a common occurrence this season where we win, but it's not satisfying at all. And I almost leave with the same concerns as I do with losses. Although I like the outcome more, I would have expected us to do better than what we did. I guess the sense of not having a real identity for this team is we just sort of match whatever our opponent is doing. And it's a very frustrating watch week to week, or really game to game, because we have to do 2 of these a week. I'm not having a lot of fun. I'm more so just relieved when we win than I am having a good time. I just want to blow somebody out. And with the way it looked today, if we go in there playing like this against Vandy or Arkansas, we're going to get whooped.
The Arkansas game really scares me because, yeah, Ole Miss, and not only are they not a very good team, they played like absolute dog shit. I mean, Travis Perry comes out, airballs the first shot of the game in front of Rupp. That was heartbreaking, to be honest.
What was with the booing Travis Perry right off the second he touched the floor? What did you do?
I mean, he wouldn't have.
Should we circle back to this? Because I feel like we should have a whole segment on the Travis Perry booing.
Yeah, we definitely should. But yeah, the identity thing is weird too, because it feels like we could just shoot the ball sometimes, and we just don't for some reason.
I think today was especially tough, and then maybe low energy because we started early. Like, it's tough to get up for anything at 11. It's weird for me to be drinking coffee in the middle of a basketball game. But you got no Cam. Immediately, Owe picks up 2 cheap ones. Then Malachi gets 2 cheap ones. Then BG gets 2 cheap ones. Then Diabate gets 2. Maybe not so cheap. But, like, if you had told me, I mean, we keep saying if you told me before the game that it unfolded this way, I'd guarantee a loss. If you told me that all of our bigs had 2 or 3 fouls in the first half and OA and Aberdeen were all in foul trouble, and we don't have Cam, and we don't have Lowe, and we don't have JQ, and Hawthorne's still not playing, I'm thinking, oh man, how do we do it? And so it's nice that we were able to pull a win out of this. I think it's positive that we were still able to draw a ton of fouls, even if we didn't like the whistle we got. Getting to the line a ton is huge. If we're only going to make 18 field goals, it's really helpful to make almost 30 free throws, even if you are only hitting them at like a 75% clip. So like there's some positives, but man, yeah, you're right. Not necessarily a fun game to watch. I don't want to be sweating noon games against Ole Miss, who I don't think is great and not playing well.
Ole Miss also has, while they're not winning a lot of games, they do have pieces that are good. Obviously, like AJ Storr he was the top player in the transfer portal, not this past offseason, but I believe the one before. I was thinking, even going into this, because we haven't heard much from Storr this year, I was thinking, man, how often do you see a player get washed while still in college? I guess that just speaks to the new era of college basketball we're in. And then he went absolutely off in the second half. So I'm not going to make that joke, even though I still got it off. But between Storr and Chest and Dia, they have like legit big and strong dudes, and they were beating us up in the first half, which is exactly what Ole Miss would have wanted going into it, which I was really happy with Mo Diabate today because he is able to match that physicality. And it's no surprise that between that game and the Indiana game, when it gets really chippy, that's the games where Mo starts to shine. As for anybody else, Otega Owe had a real strong second half. And then as soon as we get into the double bonus, he starts settling for jump shots, which what is Pope doing? Okay. I feel like we have to keep asking this because we go into the double bonus with lots of time left in the game, and then they start settling for jump shots. Why?
It's like you think there's a finite amount of drives they can do per game, and once they reach it, they got to stop.
It could just be that one of the first half adjustments was, hey, you guys are missing every layup that you take. You actually shoot better when you get off the ground and go straight up. So just take long twos. And then they were hitting those, but also, I don't know, the layups are hard, I guess. It's frustrating. That is one of the most frustrating things in the world.
It's a couple games in a row now where we're just missing absolute bunnies. They're giving it to us. We're not able to do anything about it.
We've eliminated the air ball. Go ahead.
It's helpful that we're getting fouled on some of those, so we get 2 shots and a chance to make up for it. But man, if every one of those could be an and one,
yeah,
that makes a huge difference in your final score.
It feels like Owe and Moreno specifically, when they miss a free throw or they miss a layup or they know they're going to get fouled, it's either they miss it thinking I'm going to get to go to the line, or they just miss it and then they stare at the ref for like 2 seconds. Like, hey, I should have got a foul call there. And that destroys, and that gives the offense and defense, the transition offense, and it's just like so frustrating to watch because that's the simple stuff. That's just basketball.
On a positive, Jasper Johnson is awesome. Even during his misses today, I was like, I still want to see Jasper shoot some more.
Yeah.
Because it looked like we were going in back on our bullshit in the first half, and then Jasper comes in and goes on an 8-point run by himself. And it was funny that first bank 3 was over Travis Perry, and Travis Perry airballed his first one, but he even in the second half, they started to cut it close, and Jasper comes in and hits another three. And I think with Cam out, this is exactly what you want to see from Jasper. Also, like with the transfer portal the way it is, with his light minutes, to put it kindly, in the first part of the season, with Jasper getting a real run here, maybe Jasper is more likely to stick around now.
Yeah, I think when he was running point, it was like frustrating. But whenever Aberdeen was running point and he was out there, it's like we have somebody who, if they get the ball, they're going to shoot it. If they get a decent shot, they're going to shoot it, and they are also a good shooter, which him and Colin have kind of been the only guys to do that consistently. Aberdeen was cold today after having just a heater for like 4 straight games. But if you have Jasper out there, I think that adds so much more shooting that it's worth it. Especially if you can keep, I don't know. I feel like there's an obvious lineup that we should be going with that we don't. And I guess defensively, it's hard to argue with the lineups that they played today because we held them to 63 points. But it's a brutal way to watch basketball.
First half defense was apparently great. I think everyone would focus on how bad the offense was, but we held them to a season low in their, I guess, point total for a half at 23. So that's good. I do think Ole Miss just might be bad.
Yeah.
They flashed a stat. They flashed a stat during the game that was Kentucky is second in scoring defense in the conference, which I didn't realize we were that good at holding teams to so few points. So more of the same today for us in that respect.
Yeah, on Jasper, I it's great that he's getting good minutes. In any minute that he's in the game that you're not sitting there thinking, oh no, is great. We need that, because we need him to get good minutes, feel like he can win here, so he stays. But also because we really need him to play well with our guard situation. He still makes some kind of baffling freshman plays, like the one where he had 5 guys kind of collapsed in the paint on him. And I think it actually happened twice. One, I think they were so tight in, he almost couldn't see anyone else to kick the ball to any of the 4 open players. And the other, he just passed it directly to an Ole Miss player. Like, some of those are still kind of baffling. I think he'll figure that out as he gets more minutes, but it's nice that he played good minutes today, looked good. Anytime he can have one of those microwave stretches, I think that's really good for us, A, because it helps our points, obviously, but B, because it helps his confidence.
And it helps us figure out who we have there. Like that's just the nature of college basketball now is, Jasper's got to figure out if it's a good fit for him, but the program also has to figure out if he's a good fit for the team. So far, I like what I see.
It's also interesting to see, like, I look at the box score and it's like, man, we only played 9 guys. And then I remember in the back of my head, it's because everyone else is injured and we can't possibly play more. But it's almost, some of the subbing is still kind of weird and don't love it. But as players get injured and aren't on the available list, Pope is kind of forced to play your guys who are playing well, even if it's not necessarily his choice. But like tighter lineups is good. Everybody positive on the plus minus except for Noah at -2 in 11 minutes and Jasper at 0 in 17. But that's not losing.
No.
Trent gave good run today. He hit his 3 and he had 3 steals, which, I mean, that's huge for him.
And 2 good boards. Like he kind of has a nose for the ball. I feel like disproportionately it just goes to where he is. In some way that can't be random. Like he needs credit for that. So yeah, that's good. That's certainly the best Noah minutes I've seen in some number of games. Not great that that's a 3 2-3, but better than missing everything or not taking shots or not rebounding or not stealing.
There was a concern I had during the game where Ole Miss switched to a zone and our offense just kind of stood around and tried to drive into it, which why don't we have sets or things that we want to specifically do against a zone rather than running the same offense that we always do? You would especially think that when you have players like a Jasper or a Colin, that we would be able to manufacture looks for them when they switch to it. But instead, we dribble into the collapsing zone and then try to shoot over 4 guys rather than kicking it back out. I know the play you're talking about with Jasper, but it kept repeatedly happening with our guards where they just refused to kick the ball out and try again. It's a tough watch.
To some extent today, it felt like the game plan was, recently we've talked about it on here. We've done really well with Malachi initiating offense with the zoom action, kind of like what we saw last year, and that's been really effective. The other thing that seems like we tried to do that was a little less effective today, better earlier in the week, was getting the ball down low to Malachi for a layup or a dunk. But when Malachi gets 3 fouls and is sitting on the bench for a ton of the game, and BG is having an all-time stinker, it's really difficult to do that. And so if that's your game plan, if that's what you practice this week, I can see maybe having some offensive struggles, but really, you're right. A, against the zone, you should have something different to do, but B, you just gotta have a game plan that doesn't revolve so much around one player.
Malachi had too many weak ass plays today. I don't understand. He's so big. He's bigger than everybody, and then just gets bullied, and and sometimes, and I think it's literally just, is he locked in or not? And how can you not be locked in? What is going on there?
I do think in Malachi's defense, I think Dia is legit very good. It's not encouraging like when we're going to be playing against Florida.
Yeah, Chunyelu is going to eat him alive.
I don't think there's going to be much more. Like, there's not going to be very many players who are better than Dia that we're going to run into again this year. But Dia was eaten today.
9 boards from Malachi, several of them crunch time. Had a good defensive rebound that kind of helped us keep our lead alive. Got fouled. 5 for 8 from the line, not great, but also I think better than he was to start the season. And then a couple of good offensive boards there at the end too that really helped us as we're trying to hang on to a lead that didn't feel secure even when it was 6 or 7 points.
We've talked about it before. We all do hang out in a Discord called Cat's Corner. Link in the description. It is funny to watch it as the game is being played because Malachi will make a bad play and they're like, okay, get Malachi out of there. And then Brandon Garrison comes in and they're like, get Garrison the hell out of there. If we don't have a great option to turn to.
I mean, I would like to see some more Jelly Mo run. Honestly, if we're not playing against like a real dominant big, like that's a focus on like for the offense, like a Chunyelu or something, I think that would spark some offense there. But Malachi is our best option. It's just frustrating when you know what he can do and then see what he is doing a lot of the time. Because he should dominate. And we know he can dominate because we've seen it. And it's like that first stretch of the St. John's game, right? He has 2 blocks like immediately. He scores our first points. Comes in there with this like chest up, and it's like an effort thing, which is weird. And it may be, it's a big change of pace. And he's a freshman, and maybe the conditioning isn't quite there. He gets the same run BG did this summer, and I think that he could be great. But then it's like now he's like put enough tape out there to where is he going to even come back next year?
I would think so, right? Is he getting a lot of draft buzz around him?
Hey, I don't know. It's going to be tough this year too, just because the draft class is so strong. You've got both guys from last year who stuck around that wouldn't traditionally stick around because of NIL. Think Yaxel, think some other guys like that, and then you have this just awesome freshman class that presumably eats up most of the lottery. So I don't know. So people talk about Jasper and his camp maybe not being thrilled with the minutes he's gotten. I think it'd be tough for Malachi to have that argument. I mean, he seems to be getting as much run as he can take. If anything, he's taken out only when he's exhausted. I wish the conditioning was better. Hopefully that's something that improves this summer. But he's getting, especially if BG continues to play this way, he's getting a ton of run. We're using him well. I wish he had been more offensively capable today. That wasn't quite his strong suit. Maybe a made field goal would have been nice, but getting the line when it counts and rebounding is huge. So I hope he comes back. I do wish we had a bigger kind of bruiser type center to complement him, which is not BG.
Well, we do.
Could be that though. Like he is big enough. He's got the frame to do it.
He just needs to put. I mean, but he's relatively skinny. I mean, he needs to put on weight if he wants to be that, and muscle. And
to me, it's just hard to see him. And I see skinny, and I see like Hawthorne, and that's skinny, right? But then it's like he looks like a grown man, and you expect some grown man basketball out of him because he's got the frame for it. It's just, next year. Did you guys see Amari Williams?
Yeah,
gets flown in from Maine and makes that the like game winning assist.
Of course,
he had a great game with the Celtics. And
was that last night? I didn't see this.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, that's very cool.
And it's like, because Amari was like cerebrally just a basketball, like just so smart and good with his passes. And you see Malachi being able to do that. Like there's 2 games ago, he had 9 assists, right? It's like you see that. Amari also didn't finish at the rim very good, but he was always trying to. And that's where I'm like, it's just that little bit. And Malachi has more natural talent than Amari did. It's like what he could be is really impressive. It's just I hate when we see 25% of his time, we see it, and then the other 75%, it's like just trying to keep up.
That's where I think him coming back for a sophomore year would make just so much sense. He'd probably make more money in NIL than he would on a first year, maybe late first round pick. And then with a season of improvement and conditioning and being able to finish at the rim, he could go in the teens, I would imagine, in next year's draft, or 2 drafts from now. He should be a focal point for us next year.
And he's shown that he does have an outside shot. Like if he's able to show that off more next year,
it is very funny having us sit here like, God, if only there was some way to see this freshman play longer for us and develop some. He could come back. That would be.
That would be great. We haven't heard any promises that he is coming back. And then it's also just big, good defender. You can see the NBA drafting is so much like prospect watch, and it's like you see so much of what he can develop into. A lot of times, that's all it takes for somebody to say, "Hey, yeah, we'll take you at 15," and then you can't turn that down.
Well, back to the game. Do we want to talk BG? Because it's about to get heartbreaking.
I think BG is gonna transfer, and then that will be my second favorite team.
When he wins Player of the Year at another school.
Yeah.
The two things that stand out most as surprising to me from his stat line are that he had 5 whole boards and that his plus minus was positive. I felt like he was really ineffective today. Bad plays, dumb fouls. I mean, I would have expected more than one turnover. I mean, I really, really felt like he was limited, and maybe being in there as a body to absorb, keep Malachi from fouling out was his biggest contribution.
Yeah, Colin dimed him up.
He is disruptive.
BG caused the tech got the tech that led to Colin Chandler making 2 free throws. That was huge. Him sucking led to him getting taunted, and we got plus 2 points.
Yeah, you can't teach that. I think BG. I love watching BG play basketball because it's entertaining, and he tries very, very, very hard, and he just looks hilarious. But the thing that I think has happened this year is that I don't think that the team doesn't have an identity, because the team will go on a 54-point half run after only scoring 20 in the first. The talent is there. Even on a cold shooting day, whatever, we scored 85 points last game on bad shooting. It's like we do have – it's just I don't think Mark Pope panicked, tried to switch stuff up, and now he's got these lineups where you have guys that don't really know what they're supposed to do. And somebody like Brandon Garrison is not going to do well with that kind of wishy-washiness. He needs clear direction. And that is what we're lacking, I think. And you see so much change. And on the offensive side, the defensive side, BG was fine. He fouls too much because he's got really long arms and gets baited, but he's very disruptive. And if he gets switched out, he doesn't get completely burned. It's just offensively the identity. And by identity, I don't mean what is Kentucky's identity, because we know what our players can do. It is, what is Mark Pope telling them to do? And is it confusing? And is he telling one lineup to do one thing and one lineup to do another? And since we don't have a platoon system, the continuity gets all jacked up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
During the game, Caleb, you texted the group chat and you said basically that you don't know if Pope knows what he's doing. Did you want to expand on that thought on the show?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can. I'm a big Pope apologist. I am a Catholic, but the thing is I just don't see it. Like, it feels like he lucked into the job a little bit, right? We all know that he, like, right place, right time, whatever. And then also, and now it's starting to feel like maybe he looked into that roster last year with all of the hype and then who was available, like especially with the 5th year guys. And then this year, you could tell that he obviously didn't get to like build the team exactly the way that he wanted to, and now he's not able to go. He's not able to game plan an offensive first half. Like, that's been, even the games that we've won this year, that's been a problem. It's like the first half, second half splits are atrocious. So that is the thing. He can't recruit. We don't have a single recruit even thinking about coming to Kentucky next year, apparently. And when you have less guys, because we don't have those COVID super senior 28-year-olds all over the place, that's tough. And then it also feels like he's not getting buy-in, and maybe it's the inconsistency with the plan. And hey, you just told us to do this all week, and now you're telling us to do this. I don't know what it is, but the effort in the beginning of every game also looks like it sucks. And that is a coaching problem, because the talent level that we've seen a team put 52 points up on St. John's in one half, that is their ceiling. It is a coach's job to get it out of them. And that's just not what's happening. I think we're lucky that this is a down year for the SEC, and then our schedule worked out this way to where we're starting 5-2 rather than 2-5, which we might go over the next 7.
I think that I think that there are some obvious roster construction issues here. My best guess is that he saw what he did with Lamont Butler last year. Limited offensive system, capable player who didn't have great numbers, brought him in, went to the moon, shot better, was more efficient, assisted. And tried to do that with players that also brought the physicality he thought he needed. And obviously that jump didn't happen with all these guys, which is maybe foreseeable, And there was criticism when you were looking at this roster beforehand saying like, ooh, there isn't really a great shooter. Other than Cam, no guy with really a great history of being a shooter on another team.
But we go 4 games of actually running the Mark Pope offense and then seeing the shots fall. And it's like maybe Denzel Aberdeen isn't that ass at shooting.
True.
Maybe
I also think
giving
it's
him good shots.
Yeah, very much worth criticizing to some extent, the lineup, the substitution patterns, all of that. But at the same time, it's really, really difficult to get that consistency you want when you have low in and out, especially when we were trying to do the thing for a while where he wasn't practicing, so we didn't want him to get injured in practice, and he wasn't playing full games because we didn't want him to get injured in the games, even though he was the best option. He's playing like 15 minutes. Option A for 15 minutes is not like a good way to create consistency, especially when that's going to end before the midway point of the season. JQ, okay, great. He's finally back. Okay, really, we only get him playing well for 1 game so far. That's not great for consistency. And now Cam, just as he's starting to find his footing, pardon the unintentional awful pun.
Can't be jokes like that, Ben. Come on.
I didn't mean to. It just came out. But just as he's really starting to get going, now we lose him. And I felt like he'd been, he was hitting his shots. He was defending well. And now we kind of have to make more changes. Like, yes, I think we have some fundamental issues, but also some of that's really out of Pope's hands.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It feels like it should be his job to provide consistency and build a system that is able to have some consistency. Figure out where you put your guys in a way that doesn't require a bunch of these are college kids. So asking them to it looks like change their mindset completely several times during the game is not going to work. That just won't work. And then it isn't working. And it's just like, I don't know. I don't feel great about the prospects of having a coach that might not be great at X's and O's and getting his guys up, and then also can't recruit. That's pretty rough.
A counterpoint to him being bad at recruiting, he won't have that many players hypothetically next season, which is good. He won't have 500 combinations of lineups.
He won't paralyze his own team with analysis.
Yeah, exactly. So it's actually really smart that he's not recruiting. He's a genius.
I feel like this year's roster construction is a mix of just completely overreacting to how last season went, with a mix of hubris, because it seems as though he was so focused on we need to get more athletic, and then seeing the defensive struggles that last year's team had, that he recruited guys that don't play the way he likes to play. So it looks like he was thinking, well, I can just plug in, anyone here, and I'll be able to teach them or put them in a spot where, of course, they'll be able to make these shots. Of course, they'll be able to do this, but they haven't grown up playing basketball this way, especially at a high level, that now we're kind of not doing anything all that well, because the things they do well doesn't play to his coaching strengths. and his coaching strengths don't fit what they can actually do. And it's a
Lamont
weird marriage.
Butler also had hit a buzzer beater at a Final
True.
Four. So, like, he was just like a dude. And to think, and yeah, there's some more, like, you have a more efficient offense in general. Like, you're going to get the extra 5% or whatever he bumped up on his 3-point percentage. But, like, it just seems like, yeah, an overreaction, like you said, for as far as roster construction, but also the fact that he doesn't think these guys can operate the offense that he likes to run, but then we see it happen in spite of him. It feels like a lot of these wins, especially over this 5-game run, have been in spite of the coaching. And it's been like somebody puts the team on their back, like Colin over like an 8-minute run, or like Jasper will come in and go like 7-0, or Otega will finally start hitting his shots, and then he gets on a little bit of a heater, which happens every single game. But he was like 1 for 7 in the first half, and then went off in the second half. And it was just because he's like, I'm just going to take this.
0 for 2 in the first half and 6 for 10 in the second for Owen.
So, like, did Mark Pope decide to run the offense differently, or could players just like doing what they need to do to win the game at the end of the game? I don't know. I've seen some terrible plays drawn up, out of bounds,
Either way, whether it's Pope figuring out what he needs to do post data collection at halftime, or the players just kind of taking over and doing their own thing and coming out playing differently in the second half. I wish they'd do it in the first half. I mean, just put your hands together. I don't care which one of these is the effective method forward. But if you can do it consistently in the second half, there's no reason you can't also be consistent to start the game. And it's such night and day that, like, it's got to be something.
Yeah. The foundation, this is unprecedented times in college basketball. Every year is free agency. We don't know how the contract stuff works. So we don't know who's going to be eligible. We don't know who's not going to be eligible, yada, yada. But if you had a coach that could be steady game plan, steady his emotions to where he's not depressed and like contagiously depressed, and it requires a very steady hand to build a successful program, right? So yeah, I'm excited for the 5-2 in the SEC, and some of our guys showing flashes, and us figuring out ways to win, and guys coming out and just taking over in spite of whatever they're being told. Because like Mark Pope drew up that LSU play, and then they decided to run a different play. That was the takeaway. He said he drew up a play for Otega. Colin and Moreno decided, no, we're not doing that, and did something else and won the game.
Was it because like the original look wasn't there, so they had to emergency pivot, or did they just really go off script? Malachi and Chandler.
Also on that note, Chandler had like 3 inbound passes today from under the basket that were dimes. I mean, 3-quarter court, just like the Malachi shot, just absolutely, player didn't have to move right to him. It was kind of crazy to watch. I think at some point the commentator even said, oh, that's why they have him do this.
How much is he practicing that? How much time is he spending just baseball throwing the basketball?
Well, he said him and Malachi made comments that made it sound like they had practiced that exact thing that they did.
Yeah, they worked.
Hey, great. And the other thing I think is worth noting is, like, I'm with you, Caleb. I feel like it's not fun to win this way. Like, a win is a win. I'm happy that we're on this streak, but like I said, I'd like to not be sweating a game against an Ole Miss team that I don't think is all that great. But at the same time, this is arguably the best streak we've had under Pope.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, there's something to be said for that. It's SEC isn't what it was last year, but it's not easy. I mean, all these teams are, probably averaging Ken Bomb 50-ish. So we should be winning, but it's just not always that easy. I'll take a win when we can get it. Hopefully the streak continues. Will be tough at Vandy, at Arkansas back to back, but a 5-game win streak in this conference shouldn't be taken for granted either. Finding a way to win
that we're going to get blown out, right? Because that's what it feels like to me. Is that this is a team that Arkansas, if Arkansas is playing like they play 90% of their games instead of 10% of their games, they will beat us by 30 points, and that is going to be rough. There's going to be a lot of viewers for that episode if that happens.
Oh, yeah. Kentucky might lose, but the Catican will win. We'll get ours.
That will be rough. And it's like so to take 5 wins in a row, but they're almost like relief wins, like we talked about, to go into a rough part of the schedule where you're like, I just hope we don't get beat, like, because we're going to get down, right? Like the first half of all of those games are going to be brutal.
Especially Arkansas, like that crowd's going to be insane. Like, you know how badly they want that game. And it's now on the flip side, if we win these next 2 games, the vibes are going to be off the charts.
If we win these next 2 games, though, it will be because something drastic changed. Yeah. Because this team that played today doesn't win those 2 games.
The Kentucky game for Arkansas, for John, that's a classic John Calipari trap game. That's a game, if he was our coach and it was opposite, we'd be like, we should totally roll them. This should be an easy dub that he would then lose. That gives me all the confidence that we can go to Bud Mackey and still pull it out.
Yeah.
It does feel like, but like Cal would always like beat Louisville. So like when it's a game that seems like it's really important to him personally, very much so like our Arkansas game last year, where it's just like, yeah, when it's a game like he can really get his guys like locked in for it.
Unfortunately, last year it felt like that also set them up for the rest of the season. They had put nothing together up until us.
Right.
They were inept. They were bad, and then it's like he got them up to play us, and like, oh, cool, now things are clicking, and they kind of
turned their season around off of us.
Yeah, right.
But so he also is. I mean, there's not a single coach, I don't think, in the history of basketball that has ever been better at emotionally manipulating big personalities. And that is working for him this year, right? I don't think it worked the last 5 years I don't think he was all in. I think he was starting to get like his Debbie Downerness. It was getting contagious, and it was almost like he was being like doing everything to like antagonize the fan base, stuff like that. But now he's at Arkansas, all the pressure's off. He can do the whole like one-on-one, because that's what he's been doing with what's the point guard? Like
Malik?
Acuff.
Oh,
yeah, Darius Acuff, yeah.
He was talking about it like the last game. He's like, I sat him because I knew it would piss him off. And then I talked shit with him. And then he came back, and in spite of me, he went off. It's like just like I drew it up, right? And we don't really like Pope doesn't know how to deal with big personalities like that. I think Mo specifically frustrated him a lot this year, and that's something that he needs to maybe give Coach Cal a call and see, how do I deal with these guys? How do I?
Cal would love to tell him.
My personality just ain't working.
I'm not surprised Mark Pope doesn't know how to deal with a guy from Queens, New York. Yeah. That's not shocking to me.
But he is from Queens, New York.
Pope?
Yes.
Is he from Washington?
No.
We went to Washington. Is he from New York?
This is a shock of a lifetime.
Played high school in Washington.
Okay. So he's a transplant at most.
Okay, so definitely don't want to go through talking about the game without mentioning that ballsy shot by Colin Chandler at the end of it to put it away. Unreal, especially for a day where he did not shoot the ball great. He went He went 2 for 10 shooting with that shot. So before that,
he was our second leading scorer.
Just absolute. So good on Chandler. Great game from OA. Great game from Jasper and from Mo. Yelovich, he was getting bullied. He got a rebound ripped out of his hands and then went and hit a 3 on the other end. That just kind of feels like it's going to be the Yelovich experience. But not a terrible game from him, and I definitely want to see him get more run.
I think we had him dribbling a little too much. He had a couple turnovers. I assume one was the ripped out of his hand, unless they just went ahead and credited the rebound to the other guy. The other was absolutely fumbling around on his feet with the ball. Offensively, not necessarily what I wanted, but 6.7 boards, 3 assists, a steal and a block. Could be worse. And he played 22 minutes. That may be his season high. Even if it isn't a great game from him, like I've said the past couple, it's good to see him having minutes where he is a contributing player. And I think that's important, especially as our players keep getting picked off one by one with injuries. It's good to have our options, especially today. I mean, like Mo had 3 fouls relatively early, ended up with 4. He had to spend half the game on the bench. It's good to have someone else at that size. I think we even had him in at the 5 for a minute with BG and Reno both picking up their 3rd fouls. So,
yeah. Okay, so 3 things that I think that we end on is the refs, Boogate, and I just had it and I lost it, so I'm going to have to come back. So do we want to do the refs? I mean, that was some egregiously bad calls. Maybe the worst call I've ever seen in my life on the hook against their
so bad. Oh my God.
I don't understand why we never get a home whistle. I mean, like we'll be. I'll be complaining about calls on the road, and someone will say, like, "Oh yeah, you can't expect to get that call on the road," which to me means you should expect to get that call at home, and we just never do. This was egregious, and people are going to say, "Oh well, look at the foul disparity. They were just kind of evening it up," and it's like, well, they were fouling us more. Even the fouls that we got called for were weak.
I always hate when people say that. Oh, they got to balance the fouls. Why?
They don't.
There's no reason for that. Just call it the correct calls.
That's among my least favorite things. With they're just a more physical team. It's like, well, yeah, then they should be getting called for even more fouls,
right?
Not fewer.
There was one where this was in like the second half where the game was still in flux, where Ole Miss was in transition and Otega Owe got tripped and fell over, and then they called the soft foul underneath the basket against Denzel Aberdeen.
That was, I mean, he swatted the ball. I think he got all ball. It's just inexplicable.
On that same play, as Otega's on the ground in the backcourt, they pan to Pope close up, and he's like, he just got ran over. So Pope is yelling at the refs. He's doing something, finally.
So somebody said, like, oh, Pope needs to get a tech. It's like, I don't know that that's going to help. If you're in a tight game, giving them essentially 2 points isn't. No. I hated when Cal did it. I don't know that I think it's a good motivational tactic. It's more frustrating for me than anything. Like, yeah, I'm pissed off too, but I don't think a 2-point swing and the ball is necessarily going to help in most cases.
I'd love to know the stats on that, because people do always say, like, go get a tech, rejuvenate the team. It has to be a significant downswing after those. That's 2 free points and the ball usually.
Right.
What was the second thing? Oh, Boogate for Travis Perry.
Okay, so Travis Perry enters the game today. Every time he touched the ball, the crowd would boo him. This does seem like it's going to be the discourse following the game. So where do you guys land on Boogate with Travis Perry?
He didn't do anything wrong. Totally undeserved booing.
I think it's meaningfully different from when I get frustrated when we boo our own team. Whereas I think, like, I could never boo my own team, but I absolutely could boo a player that left. Like, the Arkansas trio last year. Absolutely, I get it. You wanted them to stay, they left. They followed the coach. Most people wanted TP to leave.
Yeah.
And and it's not like he was playing well or getting unfair call. Like he was playing poorly. If you put yourself in his shoes, like I'm sure he would rather be here. You know, I'm sure he wants a bigger role, but like this is the team he grew up supporting, and he left in part, I'm sure, because the fans hated him. and I just don't get it.
I don't get why people cared enough to boo. He wasn't going to play this year. Like, I'm not going to tell people like you should or shouldn't boo. Like, I get booing him when it's the player introductions because you're booing everybody who's on the other team. Like, sure, throw him a boo, but to boo him every time he touches the ball and then say things like, well, if you don't play for Kentucky, you're going to get booed. It's like, well, no other Arkansas player is getting booed. I mean, no other Ole Miss player is getting booed anytime they come onto the court or touch the ball.
Yeah.
Why? Like, all you're telling me is that you might be a little stupid because it also feels like that's the same kind of person who's going to fall for every Bachelor edit, or they were pissed about the John Cena heel turn. It's like, dude, you're getting worked. Like,
the Venn diagram is a circle.
Yeah. I don't understand.
They booed him off the court out of he no longer played, which is if you have an opportunity for your team to go against Travis Perry, you should do everything in your power to keep him on the court. So that was a bad job by the rep crowd today.
Actively harmful.
Yeah, it's rough because it's like I get the whole don't go to an SEC school, but now it's like the SEC schools are the ones that have the most money, so it's just like the kid is not an NBA prospect. He's getting what he can get while he can, and he would be behind Jasper, and as little as Jasper plays, he would play less. So imagine what that is. And it was probably an insanely low monetary offer.
If the people that were booing him were probably in large part the same people who said this is not a D1 player, or if he is, you go to Belmont, go to some low major, in which case they should really respect that he didn't have many options and went to almost certainly the best option he had. If you don't think he's a D1 talent, but Chris Beard wants to pay him, then absolutely that's what he's going to do.
He knows ball. He picked a good town to move to.
Yep.
He did.
He'll fit right in.
It's just, for everyone who was booing Travis Perry today and viewing it as some sense of betrayal, I would just beg of you to ask yourself, would you want Travis Perry on this year's basketball team?
Yeah, are we gonna boo Onyenso? Stay where you are, dude.
But these are the same people also that call into the radio show and say, "Hey, why isn't Trent Noah playing 45 minutes?"
Yeah,
maybe that's why they were pissed and they were booing him. They were mad that he left, and he could have been our best player in their minds.
Yeah,
they felt heartbroken.
I'm glad. I hope Travis does well. I don't think about Travis Perry. I don't think about Ole Miss. So if he has a decent year this year, good on him. I am happy for my own sanity that he didn't make a shot today, so that we wouldn't have a week of discourse of, see, that's why Travis Perry should have been on this team. Like, we didn't watch a whole season of him play.
He was before this game, I believe, shooting 50% from three in conference. So, I mean, he's having a much better season. If you haven't watched them at all and your only Ole Miss TP experience is this game, he's playing much better than this. I mean, he's improved across the board in almost every statistic from his time here, which is going to frustrate some, but if you just watch today, you'd think he's the same TP he was for us, and he actually isn't. So he is having kind of a better season, but it's so good for him. I'm happy for the guy.
And if he's up shooting like that, hey, come on back, Travis. We'll take a 50% 3-point shooter.
I I
I
am
think today might have
certainly
ruined
grateful.
that 50% pretty badly, though.
Well, now he's 44% in conference.
Okay.
And 44% against top 100 teams. I mean, he's improved.
By the way, according to Don in the chat, Pope was born in Omaha.
Yeah, but I think his dad moved around with Union Pacific a lot, and they lived in New York because he was talking about what I don't remember which interview it was, but one of the Madison Square Garden times, it was like a pregame thing where he was talking about when he was little. He used to go to this place. They went there.
Well, I know that he lived in New York when he was at Columbia.
Yeah,
that's the extent of my
Checks out.
contribution.
and then because that's where he met Leanne too, right?
Yes, she was working the Letterman show or something at the time, which is in New York.
All right. Well, we did our little Mark Pope bio. So very cool. I think that's what I got. Do we have any predictions for the? Oh goodness, I just saw a little bit of the chat there. I can't pull that one up. Do we have any predictions for the Vandy game?
I don't think Vandy is as good as everybody thought they were, but I also think that Vandy can use this as a get right game, and that would be rough.
I think Vandy's pretty good. Their non-con wasn't particularly strong. It looks like VCU, St. Mary's, SMU, and UCF were their decent non-con teams. I am going to be done picking against Owe for my player of the game. I mean, it seems like it doesn't matter who I pick. Owe has a quiet 20-point game and proves me wrong. So I'll take Owe for my player of the game. But
a Tuesday night 9 p.m. game in Nashville during this like snowpocalypse that's got big road L written all over it. That's what I'm expecting. So I can't get mad when they lose, but maybe I can reverse jinx them by predicting they're going to lose.
Yeah, I predict they will lose for sure.
I don't think we'll win. I think if we do win, we're going to need a big Denzel Aberdeen game. So give me Denzel as my player of the game. Now, I was thinking about picking Jasper, and then I was concerned about just like a crazy road environment like Memorial is at Vandy. I believe it's also Memorial. Is it Memorial there now?
It's so weird too, isn't it? Like weird the way that they have to like be on the baseline for the benches and stuff.
yeah, one, it's elevated. I mean, everything about playing there is strange. It always has been. We traditionally don't play well there. I'm sure we have a winning record there because we dominated the SEC for so long. But it's always even. I guess it was SEC tournament and we lost there with the Anthony Davis team. But
how did we
there? But we did.
not there.
Level of domination,
right? What?
To dominate, and that I miss dominating. Like Duke does to the ACC, which is a better conference than the SEC 9 out of 10 years. It's just like, what do we got to do? And can this guy get us there?
I don't know. I do miss feeling inevitable.
Yeah.
I haven't felt that we're that. I was going to say, give me Aberdeen. I would pick Jasper, but I'm concerned about a road environment. But Jasper did play well at Tennessee. So who knows? It might not be the craziest environment we played in. I don't know if we let Thompson Bowling get that crazy while we were there, but it'll be fun. Yeah,
I do think Jasper will have the advantage of being able to still hit a three even in that weird spot because he played at OTE, which has the weirdest backdrop and lights and everything. So he still can hit threes in that environment. He might be the only one that'll hit anything for that Vandy game.
Well, one thing I wanted to mention briefly was there's a lot of people who say, like, quit taking OTE guys. They don't know how to play because they don't play basketball at OTE. You know, it teaches them bad habits, whatever. And I know that he went to Link in Missouri beforehand and did kind of the more traditional prep school route. after he left Woodford County. But we also watched Moreno, who stuck around, and often I feel like to his detriment was far and away the best player on the court most games. So he didn't really learn how to protect his shot. Really, maybe that's why he gets the ball stripped or goes up weak, and so it's difficult because if your alternative is you go to OTE where you also aren't playing normal competition, or do you stay here and play subpar competition and not improve? So not really any point there, just kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Is OTE really that fundamentally different from how they play in AAU as far as translatable college basketball skills and stuff?
I'd say it's somewhat different just because the rules are odd. I do think it's good for getting kids in the spotlight, getting them used to having a camera in their face and doing interviews and having fans. And but I also don't think that AAU is a great foundation either. I mean, it's a lot of really, really bizarre basketball.
The way that you make it sound, because I've never watched a minute of OTE, but it sounds like the LeBron James Space Jam remake, like when they were playing in that game. I don't know if you guys saw that, but
it's like banana ball, but for basketball.
Yeah,
Happy Gilmore
kind of.
Yes,
kind of.
It sounds like they're playing in foam.
Trampolines.
Yeah, they're playing slam ball.
Everyone's wearing the 2013 Adidas March Madness neon jerseys that are super bright.
Well, okay, yeah, pretty much. The other thing about it is that people will look at and see some of Jasper's crazy offensive missteps sometimes and say look, OTE ball. But that isn't true across the board. I mean, Amari Allen Evans from Tennessee played there, really fundamentally sound defensive player. Luke Thomas played there, who's maybe a little in your face, but also has translated pretty well. It's certainly not oh, look, OTE just makes bad basketball players.
Right. Wild question in the chat here. This made me laugh. I don't know if it was okay. I'll just read it. Are we overrating Malachi? Is he better than freshman Dakari Johnson? I don't know why Dakari is the go-to one there. I do think he's better than freshman Dakari.
He's definitely better than freshman Dakari. Dakari was good, fine, but Malachi's better than that. I don't know if we're overrating Malachi though. As to the first part of that question, I think we're accurately, not us, but generally, I think he's accurately rated.
Yeah, I think that Malachi has been pretty impressive. I want him routinely. If he's not on the floor, I want him on the floor.
I think him being better than what was really expected of him, programmatically, is the reason that we don't have 9 losses. Because if BG was our only guy for 2 months because the freshman couldn't play, what are we at right now? Right.
Yeah. Also, if JQ is good to go for the Vandy game, I'm feeling much better about the Vandy game. I just remembered that.
He's week to week now, according to ESPN. He's week to week, which is a new classification I hadn't heard of for basketball until today.
Peanut butter coffee. Sorry, go ahead.
So as compared to freshman Dakari, Malachi has a better offensive rating, about the same usage, higher effective field goal, higher true shooting percentage, better defensive rebound, almost the same offensive rebound, triple the assist rate, fewer turnovers, more blocks, more steals, fewer fouls called on him, more fouls drawn, gets to the line just a little less. I mean, hits free throws at a much better rate. I think it's safe to say that Malachi is better than freshman Dakari, and maybe he eclipses sophomore Dakari in most of those.
Now Dakari does have one much more impressive stat to him, but we can't mention that on this show. I'm just
Can
gonna
we mention it? Can we mention it in the Discord, or is that
Yeah.
bannable?
No.
Okay. Okay. So it's not that one thing.
You can just ask
bond.
about it in the Discord, and somebody will tell you the Dakari's impressive stat. Look at us. You know, we're not making a cent off that Discord, but we'll plug it. Don says, if we can boo our guys, we can boo Travis. I think the important distinction here is I care about our guys, whether they're doing well or not. So, yeah, I'm okay with booing them if they're doing really poorly. I don't care about how Travis is playing. So I am still not pro booing him. Oh, Captain Crash says, my father used to go fishing with Goose Givens. Nice guy.
Can your dad give him tips on how to be better at color commentary?
Oh boy. Well, I think Caleb's left us. Anything else you guys want to cover before we get out of here? Dink Pate. Do we want Dink Pate? No.
He's not a take.
I don't know. That's tough. I mean, I certainly like the size of or the idea of the size of a 6'8" guard. That seems like it could be helpful. I think he's talented. I don't know what our other options are at this point. I guess we'll have to wait till portal time to see.
I guess important context here for those not in the know. Dink Pate is currently in the NBA G League, and he has some Kentucky buzz around him for next year.
People will call me biased, but if you're going to let some G League players play who don't have NBA experience, then I say go for it. And to me, that's the dividing line that makes sense. Like, I don't care what kind of contract you signed. If you played in the NBA, you're an NBA player. If you didn't, you're not. If we're going to let Euro pros play, if we're going to let guys who were drafted but didn't play in the NBA play, if we're going to let these other G Leaguers play without NBA experience, there's no reason not to open the floodgates there. I think it's wrong. I mean, I think they should all be ineligible, but they're not. And competitively, you got to do what you got to do to win.
I'm pro Dink, just for the meme potential alone. I do also think that from what I see, I think he could be pretty good. So I don't know. Give me Dink. Peanut Butter Posse says Dink is a clown name. Close.
Literally.
That is Doink. So Doink the clown. Anything else you guys want to cover before we head out of here? No. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining the Catican. Please like and subscribe. Very close to 1,000, so we do appreciate all the support. For Caleb, for Ben, for Raph, I'm Jared, and go Cats.
Go Cats.
Go Cats.
Whoops, I almost accidentally left the studio. We're still alive right now. Insane. Bye, everybody.